Hey, thanks for tuning into this video on my channel. It's Dr. Gofield's channel. So today what I'm going to be doing is demonstrating how to use Zoom and make it into a virtual tape operator for a multi-camera position. One of the things we're trying to do right now is figure out how sometimes we can, extend the reach of our studio, and one of the positions that I can do that with is tape operator. So I'm going to show you how I send intercom back to my student operator, and also how they can play video remotely. This video that's up here is my kind of test video. Now guys, I've got an example that I'm going to show you guys that we did in class the other day with a real live student going. But this video is actually playing from my laptop, audio and everything, across my system into my switcher, so I can use that as a multi-camera tape system. It's pretty cool. It's got a few latency limitations, namely, you got to remember that when you're going across Zoom, there's a little bit of delay, so if you want the person to play a tape, you need to anticipate that a little bit. So anyways, let's move on to another part of our control room here, and I will show you guys how I have all this set up. So on this computer here, I've got this hooked up into my studio system, got my video playing from my laptop, and I'm using NDI's scan converter to get the signal out of this computer into my system. A number of ways you can get your computer signal in and out, but we're using NewTek's NDI right here because I know that's a popular and free program to use, or application to use. I did also want to show y'all that I've got a microphone right here hooked up through my system using Mix Minus. I'm going to talk about in just a couple of minutes. And if you'll notice on my audio down here, I've got my self-talking, and I can, of course, mute that, and now the person at home won't hear me. But this microphone is what I use, or a microphone, wireless mic, is what I use for intercom back to the student. It just makes it a little bit easier to use than having to patch around things in my intercom system, as I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so what I wanted to show over here was a little bit closer up on my Zoom computer, where I have the tape operator playing. This on here, my video is playing. My remote person tape operator, remote student, has shared a video with me, and so I have the video and audio coming out NDI, and as you can see on my microphone down here, as I talk, my audio, hello, is going back to him. Now it does, now it doesn't. So the Zoom really setup is, the biggest thing is you want to make sure they can share the screen in their settings, and then we use NDI, virtual input. Let me show that real quick down here. The NDI virtual input, and you choose your source. In our case, I can choose a computer. Our BirdDog, as I'll talk about, is how we get our SDI signal onto NDI, and then I use my scan converter app, NDI scan converter app, to send out the signal out to my SDI system. So kind of a round trip. The biggest thing, as we'll talk about, is the Mix Minus for audio, to make sure that my audio doesn't somehow get mixed back in with the tape operator while I'm giving him, the directing commands. And again, it's a pretty simple system, pretty easy to do if you just kind of try to remember to keep your audio separate. So he's sharing the screen, audio separate, and I just have to remember to tell him not to say anything. So on to the next part. One more quick note before we go talk about Mix Minus. At some point, you're going to need to get your signal into and out of the system if you have an SDI, kind of a traditional studio system. NDI is great, but you have to have usually some sort of hardware encoder and decoder in order to get the signal in and out of NDI into your traditional SDI switcher and router and all that other stuff. We use here the BirdDogs. They are hardware encoder decoders. This isn't meant to be a shameless plug for BirdDog. There's others out there. I think Magewell and others make NDI encoders and decoders. But what the point of that is I can send my signal I can pick that up in the BirdDog, and then I can translate that into a hardwired SDI signal that I can then use in my traditional switcher. That's what we're using here with our Ross system. We're taking the NDI signal to the BirdDogs and into our Ross Carbonite. So again, it's it's a pretty flexible system, but there are all sorts of hardware encoders and decoders out there that you can use. So anyways, now let's go talk about Mix Minus. Okay, so we're in here with our digital audio mixer, our Pro X here in Strong Hall, and it's a digital mixer, but one thing about it is it's set up just like a traditional audio mixer. So if you have kind of a more analog one or whatever digital one, this Mix Minus process to get your intercom, which is this little mic, back down the line to your student is kind of about the same. It's all Mix Minus means basically I'm sending the student everything but me. And in fact, as I turn up my monitors here,
I have a lot of
you'll hear my tape playing.
obituaries.
But I've got this going, this microphone going here, my Dr. Com, C-Com, and you can see I'm not hearing myself feedback. That's done with mix minus. There's a couple ways to do that. We use our aux buses here in the middle. Aux sends are kind of a really good way to do that because I can kind of create, just using the little knobs, everything but me. And that's what I've done on this aux send right here, which again, I'll show you guys close-ups of this. But the idea is, again, that I'm talking to the student, they can hear me, but the people at home that are watching the program feed can't. So that's what aux mix minus is. Again, there's a couple of different ways to do it. Aux sends are probably a good, easy way than others. I could go through my intercom system and do that, but it's a little bit more of a hassle to patch around out of the audio mixer and everything, and it's just kind of easier from our system, and I don't know about yours, but probably as well. Okay, so here we are, a little bit closer view of our audio mixer, and I want to talk a little bit more about mix minus. On my input channels on the left over here, I've got my intercom up, and you don't hear me right now. And if I turn up my Zoom channels, now we hear the voice. So I'm going to turn my monitors down. And you can see I've got it in the masters over there. Henry's talking away, but now when I close him out, I'm not. My voice is still going out over the aux sends here in the middle, the mix minuses. And that's really what a mix minus is where you send a separate mix potentially through your aux sends, which we've done here on our mixer. But again, this is, any analog audio board will do the same thing. You send whatever you want back to Zoom except for the Zoom channel. And in this case, on my program feed, I've turned off, on my main board feed, I've turned off my microphone so I don't feed back. So now when I turn this up, there's nothing there because I'm not talking, even though you can see it in the mix channel on the screen as I talk, and you can see the VU meters go up. So I can tell the tape operator at home, okay, stand by to roll the tape, roll and track it.
So we better turn around and go back.
And I can talk to him, okay, after this we're going to kind of pause it, so stand by to pause the tape. 3, 2, 1, pause it, and they pause it. So that's what mix minus does, is it allows you to use the audio mixer to send a microphone intercom signal back down to Zoom without everybody at home that you're broadcasting to hearing it.
California woman's dream became a real-life nightmare when she woke up and realized she had swallowed her own engagement ring. Jenna Evans was admitted to urgent care after she realized she had gulped down the diamond ring in her sleep. Jenna says it started with a vivid dream about being on a hijacked train. In it, her fiancé had told her to swallow her ring, so she did it, just not in the dream. After a quick medical procedure, the bride-to-be was reunited with the ring. Now she says she takes it off before going to bed.
So, hope you guys kind of got a little bit out of this, but that's really it for the video. Again, we're using Zoom as kind of the middleman to play a videotape. And I'm using Nutex NDI or some other sort of scan converter to get that out of the computer into my SDI system. And then back to the student, back to my tape operator remotely, I'm using mix minus. So if you have these kind of basic tools in any sort of multi-camera system, you can do this. Zoom does have its quality limitations, and there's a little bit of latency. But otherwise, it's working pretty well for us. So hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and again, thanks for tuning into my channel.